Lincoln J reporting for Rebel News in East Palestine, Ohio. Now, this village was the site of one of the biggest train derailments in modern history. On February 3rd, a train derailed here and spilled very hazardous chemicals. There was an evacuation order, and just 5 days later, the evacuation order was lifted and residents were told they can return. So we came here to see what's really happening, and we have found that yes, the residents have returned, but they've returned with many concerns over the potential health hazards that are going to come down the road from the train derailment.
We had sent in members of the Ohio National Guard and had their protective suits on to measure the air. And no one went back within that area or was allowed back in that area until they could come back and tell us that the monitoring was consistently good. In fact, the monitoring showed that the air was basically what it was prior to the actual train crash, or what we would have expected it to be at that time.
You think that they're not being totally transparent with the potential health hazards here?
I think for sure they're not being totally transparent. It took almost 5 or 6 days for them to tell us what was in those cars, and you know they knew instantly what was in those cars. We're told that the chemical we burned off is odorless and tasteless, except we can smell something. So something else is happening there. We're told that the waterways are safe, yet we're finding dead fish. We're certainly not getting all the information.
By the time we were at the decision point for potentially bringing the people who had evacuated back into the impacted area, we had on hand air testing that told us that the air really looked pretty much like it did before this event ever happened.
Do you think that it's safe to be here right now?
Personally, probably not. Probably not. I can still in some areas smell the plastic. You have a small, headache on the sides. It's probably not.
What about you?
Oh no,
And I think the cherry on top of all this is the fact that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, has yet to comment on the train derailment. He has said nothing. So we're gonna talk to some of the locals, we're gonna talk to some of the residents, and we're gonna find out how they feel about the fact that Joe Biden, the president, has said nothing about this situation. Let's go talk to some people and let's find out.
I think he should have commented already. I mean, even when it first happened, the day after, I think we should have heard from people in Congress and everything else, because this was a serious thing. They need to handle it now and not later.
I think he's a jerk and needs to say something. We are your people too, are we not? You can't just be where you're at and be with them people. I mean, you have people everywhere going through tragedy, but you're not gonna say nothing? I think he's a coward.
I don't really know him a lot, but he's just keeping secrets or whatever away so he don't get in trouble, I guess.
Joe Biden hasn't commented at all on this situation, on one of the biggest train derailments in modern history. What do you think about that the President of the United States has no comment for his own American people?
They just bailed him out, stopped him from being able to strike. I think they have a lot of stock in it. They can't let and the railroad's huge. The railroad is, a huge part of the economy and moving supplies and goods around and coal and keeping power and everything. It is huge. It's got to roll, but, I can't believe he hasn't had anything to say about it. I've seen everybody in the last few days, from Aaron Brockovich to Tom Green has comments on it, and Joe Biden doesn't have anything to say. It's kind of f***ed up.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. He received donations for his campaign from the railroad company, so it does not surprise me one bit.
It's irresponsible, plain and simple. He's blowing it under the rug, and I feel like a lot of the people are, and the news stations are, and it shouldn't be handled that way.
That's why we're here.
Awesome.
Hey, Joe Biden, what do you think about his response?
Well, I don't know what his handlers told him to say. I don't watch the news, so it's hard to, I don't watch the news. But I'm sure he said, come on, man, it can't be that bad.
To be honest, you are the first person to tell me Joe Biden didn't say anything about this. I think it's a big deal. He should do something about this. Maybe he should come here, to cover to let the people know, that's a big deal. They care about the people. So I think if he didn't say anything, definitely he should.
I think the federal government across the board has not responded very well. The Secretary of Transportation hasn't been here to look at what's happened. I'm not sure in the scheme of things in the whole country that East Palestine matters to any of those people.
Thanks so much for watching the report, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. You can see more reports like this from East Palestine, Ohio at ohioexplosion.com. If you like the coverage, if you appreciate the journalism that we're providing, you can consider making a donation through that same website so we can continue to report on stories like this and show you guys the other side of the story. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in.